Joseph and his brothers, from betrayal to blessing. Jacob, also called Israel, had 12 sons, but he loved Joseph more than the others because he was the son of his old age and the firstborn of his beloved wife, Rachel. To show his favor, Jacob gave Joseph a richly ornamented robe, a symbol of distinction. His brothers, already envious of the attention he received, grew even more resentful when Joseph shared dreams. He had visions in which he saw his brothers bowing down to him. The jealousy turned into hatred. One day, when Joseph was sent to check on his brothers in the fields, they plotted against him. "Here comes that dreamer," they sneered. Some wanted to kill him, but Reuben, the eldest, suggested they throw him into a pit instead, intending to rescue him later. However, while Reuben was away, the others saw a caravan of Ishmaelite traders passing by and decided to sell Joseph as a slave for 20 pieces of silver. They dipped his coat in goat's blood and brought it to their father, leading Jacob to believe that his beloved son had been devoured by a wild animal. Joseph in Egypt, from slave to prisoner. Joseph was taken to Egypt and sold to Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. Despite his misfortune, he worked diligently, and God blessed him. Potiphar saw that everything Joseph did prospered, so he placed him in charge of his household. However, Potiphar's wife became infatuated with Joseph and repeatedly tried to seduce him. Joseph, a man of integrity, refused her advances. Enraged by his rejection, she falsely accused him of trying to assault her. Potiphar, believing his wife, had Joseph thrown into prison. Even in prison, God was with Joseph. He gained the trust of the warden and was placed in charge of other prisoners. One day, he interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, correctly predicting that the cupbearer would be restored to his position while the baker would be executed. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him, but he forgot about Joseph for 2 years. Joseph's rise to power. One night, Pharaoh had troubling dreams that no one could interpret. The cupbearer finally remembered Joseph and mentioned him to Pharaoh. Joseph was brought from prison, and with God's wisdom, he explained that Pharaoh's dreams foretold 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to store grain during the good years to prepare for the famine. Impressed by Joseph's wisdom, Pharaoh appointed him as second in command over all of Egypt. At 30 years old, Joseph became the most powerful man in Egypt next to Pharaoh. He managed the land wisely, storing grain in preparation for the coming famine. The famine brings his brothers to Egypt. When the famine struck, it affected not only Egypt but also the surrounding lands, including Canaan, where Joseph's family lived. Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain. When they arrived, they did not recognize Joseph, but he recognized them. He concealed his identity and tested them to see if they had changed. He accused them of being spies and kept Simeon as a hostage, demanding that they bring the youngest brother, Benjamin, to prove their honesty. When they returned with Benjamin, Joseph orchestrated another test. He planted his silver cup in Benjamin's sack and accused him of theft. When Judah, one of the brothers, offered himself as a substitute for Benjamin, Joseph was overcome with emotion. Seeing their remorse and willingness to protect the younger brother, he finally revealed his identity. "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt," he said. His brothers were terrified, but Joseph reassured them. "Do not be afraid. What you meant for evil, God meant for good to save many lives." Reunion and redemption. Joseph invited his family to live in Egypt, providing them with land in Goshen. Jacob was overjoyed to see his son alive and moved to Egypt with his entire household. Before his death, Jacob blessed his sons, prophesying about their future. After Jacob's passing, the brothers feared Joseph would seek revenge. But Joseph reassured them again, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." He provided for them and their families, showing them mercy instead of vengeance. Joseph lived a long life in Egypt, witnessing the fulfillment of God's promises. Before his death, he made his family swear to carry his bones back to the land of Canaan when God would lead him out of Egypt. His story became a testament to faith, forgiveness, and divine providence, a reminder that God can turn even the darkest moments into blessings.